The Eminence in Shadow, my latest obsession. I'm a huge Isekai guy. I have seen too many to count, so I think I can tell what a good one looks like, and damn it, this one is good. In his past life, Sid's dream wasn't to become a protagonist or a final boss. He'd rather lie low as a minor character, until it's prime time to reveal he's a mastermind. Or at least, do the next best thing, pretend to be one. And now that he's been reborn into another world, he's ready to set the perfect conditions to live out his dreams to the fullest. Armed with his overactive imagination, Sid jokingly recruits members to his organization named Shadow Garden, and makes up a whole backstory about an evil cult that they need to take down. Well, as luck would have it, these imaginary adversaries turn out to be the real deal, and everyone knows the truth but him. Usually it takes more than a description for me to watch a show. That would pull in just about anyone, I think. Let's get into the reasons why I love the show so much. First of all, as an isekai, there are so many tropes, so many similarities in all of them, so you have to make sure that you leave your mark as a top isekai. You have to make sure that you do something different, or execute on those common tropes very well, which, crazy enough, The Eminence in Shadow does both of these. No disrespect to any of the other isekais out there, but just the style and feel of this show compared to the others is 10 times better to me, bro. The characters just look so damn clean. Also, I want to add, quite a few isekai main characters try to get out of the spotlight, but in this show, Sid does an amazing job. He always makes sure that his tracks are perfectly covered and goes about what he wants whenever he wants. There is a huge, and when I say huge, female cast, I really mean that. And all of them feel special and unique. None are useless, and quite a few of them have a lot of depth. And the original part that distinguishes Eminence in Shadow from the rest is basically what I said in the synopsis earlier. His group is fighting to save the world from the cult, this evil organization, but Sid, he's just in this for fun. He thinks that he made all of this up, and he basically did. In hindsight, they're actually real, and he just thinks everyone is playing along with his act. It's actually quite fun to see. Alright, so next we're going to talk about the fighting. This show, like most popular isekai nowadays, is very good when it comes to combat, but this show is just on another level, bro. There's magic in this world, but I'm gonna be honest, sometimes I be forgetting because they do use it, and now that I'm thinking about it, they probably use it way more often than I think, but when you watch the fight scenes, you kind of lose track that they use magic because they just have I'd say super speed. They move at very high speeds, and they're usually fighting like hand to hand or like with swords, mostly with swords, but they do hand to hand a lot too. I will say though, I really don't think that many isekai can hang with Eminence in Shadow when it comes to action. Sid and the main cast are very OP, so it's actually wild that the fights are as hype as they are, but it's just something else that this show delivers on, bro. I honestly couldn't tell you who the main villain is. I don't think they even have one, at least where we are in the anime. They have people who try to foil Shadow Garden, of course, but they aren't necessarily villains. I'd say they're more antagonists. And they're not even really antagonists, they're just antagonists to Shadow Garden. And that's only because they don't know the true objective of them. And Sid did nuke basically half of a damn country, so there are many characters. It's hard to keep up, but that's not a bad thing, honestly. If anything, it's a testament to the author for making so many good characters. Alright, so now the part that I've been wanting to get to the most, the characters. The cast is very large, and all the characters have something unique to them. All of them are done very well. If you have watched a video on my channel before, you know I'm a huge fan of AniList, so I'm going to make a quick reference. Usually a series has one or two characters that are super popular, and the rest are just ranked very low. Majority of the characters in this show, they have at least 100 favorites. Well, I think a good 7 or 8 of them have at least 450. But enough of that, let's get to the main members of Shadow Garden. Let's just start off by saying the entire group is cool as fuck. I could go for a long time rambling about this, but I will just go to who I think the main ones are. Shadow Garden began composed of a group of 7 girls that Sid saved, but over the years they have gained more and more members, and they still pledge their allegiance to Sid, although they aren't with him as much as they used to be. Concerning as to how they focus on business and the Code of Diablos now, first let's talk about Delta. She's the 4th original member. She's my favorite probably. She is an unhinged maniac and I love her. Her fighting style is definitely my favorite in Shadow Garden. She's very aggressive and unpredictable, which makes sense because it is stated that she is the most physically gifted in Shadow Garden, and it definitely matches her personality, making her really destructive. Next we have Gamma. To me, she's easily the funniest girl in Shadow Garden. The third original member, she possesses no real skill. Although she is powerful, she cannot control her strength, but she is very smart. She handles the business relations for Shadow Garden, leaving the fighting to the others typically. Next, we have Epsilon. Slime boobies. Next, Beta. To me, she is probably the best designed character, and she is the second original member. She's also very smart, maybe not as smart as Gamma, but she is pretty important to Shadow Garden in her own right. I think she probably goes undercover the most out of anyone, and she is quite powerful overall. She is probably my second or third favorite member. That's pretty good considering as to how many members they actually have. Lastly, we have the second in command of Shadow Garden, basically the first. She is the very first girl that Shadow helped, making her the first member. She devoted her life to Shadow when he saved her life, and it's basically what started the entire thing. She is very strong and she's an amazing strategist and a leader. I think she is definitely smarter than everyone overall. She is that damn good. She is feared and respected by everybody in Shadow Garden. She is badass and she is just awesome. Alright, lastly, of course, we have the main character, Sid Kagenou, aka Shadow. To me, as great as the show is, he is definitely the highlight. I don't think anybody can debate that. Everything he does, fighting wise, is just top tier. He has an amazing design. This word is used far too often now, but he gives off just a definitive aura. It's insane, bro. He is also a super unserious character. He's OP. As an Isekai protagonist, that is to be expected, but it is great how he is handled. He really doesn't care about much because he thinks that most of this is just roleplay. He is just having fun fighting and doing whatever he wants. But honestly, I think Sid is just like me, and I think many other people would do the same as him if they were actually Isekai. He is a big nerd. With his powers, he can essentially do anything. He sometimes has whims like to become the protagonist, a secret agent, being the villain. He just comes up with these personas for fun. Also, he does super dramatic things like an anime character would do on purpose. He's definitely climbing on my list for favorite main characters in Isekais. I think that's pretty much it, bro. The Eminence in Shadow is just phenomenal, and I hope everybody watches it.